Join us every Friday on Clubhouse, where we will be talking scrap with industry vets nationwide. We'll kick it off on everyone else. Like, I know how it is with everyone's schedule. It's, sometimes it's hard to jump on, sometimes it isn't. So, I understand that, and I got no problem with if people can make it one week and not another week. It's not an issue. That's kind of the beauty of this thing too. We can change out, have different speakers from throughout the country, and really kind of build a community. And it's still kind of ground floor, so we'll just kind of keep chipping away at it. But I mean, on your end, what do you see, John? What changes are you seeing?
Well, the changes, the changes. Forget about market changes. I've been thinking about this all morning as I was. The changes that we're facing, first and foremost, is there seems to be an incredibly shallow workforce availability. Okay, and we, in this industry, you were always able to get laborers and get them on. The change to me is getting laborers in, but back to safety. See, you have a pre-work physical, and you have to pass a drug screening because our clients demand we have a strict zero tolerance drug testing program. And so as I've been thinking about the subject, the changes in the industry is that the amount of personnel that you can really attract that is capable of passing the screening has shrunk dramatically. And I think that's a change that's affecting all of us across this country who have scrap metal operations or any form of recycling facilities. If you have a drug program, a zero tolerance drug program, and you're doing the screening, it's really hard because it's hard to hire anybody anyway, and now to find somebody who's willing to work that is clean, that even shrinks your pool even more. And I think that's a big change in our industry.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, how's everyone else doing? How you doing, Foon?
Hi-yo, I am here.
Good. How you doing, William?
William's on mute.
He's muted. He can. And then Brett has joined us. How you doing, Brett?
What's up, fellows and ladies?
And the king of Idaho.
I don't know about that.
So John, you're not interested in hiring people that are on drugs? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, yeah,
No fun.
I thought you liberals out there in California didn't discriminate on things like that.
Well, it's interesting because you would think because you get that all the time because in California weed is legal and they say, well, pot's legal. Yeah, that's fine. It's legal. Smoke your brains out. Go for it. I'm not one to judge. But when our customers demand the employees that go onto their property have been through a screening program that are in a random program to be drug-free, there's just nothing you can do.
No, of course. I'm just making a joke.
Well, no, and I know, but it's funny, it's cute, but the bottom line is this is being driven by your clientele. More so, you have a company culture that you don't want it, but your clientele is really driving the issue.
Do you see?
But that's not necessarily industry driven, Don, right? Like that's every industry, in my opinion. I don't think it's necessarily like the scrap industry as much as that's very broad. Like everybody's having a hard time finding workers, and everybody's having a hard time finding workers that can pass even a piss test. So
100%.
What do you see as like a change to our specific industry on the scrap side?
I don't see. You hear people say, this is what I've heard. Now I was in North Carolina and Georgia and Texas a couple weeks ago. And the big change, for instance, in the MRFs, and I'm seeing this also in North Carolina, and we actually have it in Georgia. There's more females entering the labor where we have been a traditionally male-dominated labor force, and as far as the hand laborers, the crane operators, the shear operators, the metal sorters, that's changing to adding. The one MRF in Austin, Texas, the whole front. It's a double shift facility. The first shift is all female, 100% female.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I'm sorry, this is Jake speaking over here at Maribel Metal Recycling. We actually have a badass female that does everything too. Have that kid, operate cranes, forklifts, load, unload trucks, process material. I mean, and it's just incredible to have them. And she actually works here with her father. And we actually had a really nice Google review where we had a customer come in and just was like, wow, I really like the fact that you're an equal opportunity employer and that you allow women to do the same work as men. So,
God bless.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome, Jake.
I remember when I started here at our place, when I started with my dad, I don't know if it was, I lost track, it was almost 15 years ago, but we had a woman here and she was stripping wire on a forklift, doing everything, and it's great to see women do. I'm seeing so many women truck drivers these days. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, and going back to the testing, it's also the owner's responsibility of the company to have a safe working environment for all employees. And so that, we're, the machinery that we're operating, even down to the shears. I mean, if you got some guy that's, high on, smoking pot, or it's residual, it's even though, it's legal, alcohol is legal too, but you still can't, drive a truck legally. So I think that, there's probably going to be some type of litigation possibly in the future about operating machinery under the influence of any kind of substance.
Yeah, for sure. But ultimately, where that deal changes when they can test and decide whether you had smoked weed last night or you were doing it while you, just like alcohol, right? What's your blood alcohol level today? But ultimately, for me, I think that as much as it is a personal choice, it still comes back down to your insurance and your insurance carriers and their ability to insure you as a company if you allow that to happen regardless,
So,
And yeah, without the insurance, you can operate, but you're just risking everything you built.
Exactly.
so kind of to shift gears, William, this change is something that I'm sure everyone's seeing, is electric cars coming into scrap finally. And you have a Tesla, William, so are you guys seeing that at your yards? Are you starting to see some of that trickle into your flow? I think that's a major change.
So we're kind of a strange beast out here in the West that, although we're heavy industrial, the zoning for us, we're not able to be deemed as an auto dismantler.
Oh, okay.
So we only take vehicles from auto dismantlers, and it's not our primary source of business. However, which is nice, but we do see some vehicles coming in, and we have seen in some local yards here that they brought in a Tesla and it caught fire because of the batteries were not removed. And so that just went back to us, being, we definitely don't want to, handle those unless the safety aspect of is it removed, are the batteries gone, and do a full inspection on any vehicle that comes in. Batteries, especially the lithium ion. And, and it made us think that should we get a portable-ish kind of foam fire retardant in the event that we do get something that comes in, because as you know, you can't, put those things out with water.
Anyone else been seeing those in their yards? Has that been coming in?
Not us at Sierra, because down the street, just a half a mile, SA has their big auto shredder. And I think, this is, as ISRI goes, I know the auto shredder committee, the shredder committee is discussing this because this is going to be an incredible issue in a few years when, the traditional diesel or gasoline motor goes by the wayside and you have a more of abundance of these battery operated vehicles. We don't handle them. We don't handle automobiles, but even though we're an auto dismantler, we have an auto dismantler's license. We don't handle them, so I have no experience with it whatsoever. So it'd be good to get an auto shred company, gentleman or female, on this call to figure out what they're doing, because I think that's a great question, great point.
No cars over here. I don't do. We're too little.
Okay, so no one's doing cars, and we're not really seeing it either. It's just something I know is coming. I know that day is going to come when those start coming in instead. So I've done a little bit of research on, the cost to dispose of those, lithium ions, and it's not real cheap.
At some point, I do think, though, there's going to be a market for those, just like there is for the lead acid. There's going to be a market for the either rehab or recycling of those where they're actually going to have value versus right now it's a disposal fee.
Whoever figures that out is going to be the next skyrocket rich man around here.
There you go.
Well, there's already a company working on that, and he used to be part of Tesla.
Is that the Aqua Metals company you're talking about?
No, Aqua Metals went out of business because they had a fire and they burned their whole plant. But there is a company, used to be the COO of Tesla. He's developing some technology to recycle the rare earth and all of the lithium ion so that they can put it back into the ecosystem.
That's cool.
Well, Brett, I got a question for you. With you have your car flattener and you're out there and about. How many of these cars are you running into, and what are you doing differently to handle them?
Not a lot of them yet. And over here, obviously in Idaho, we're all like, we're 20 years behind the times in general. So,
how many wood panel size Jeeps do you have in your garage?
A bunch.
We're starting to run into a few of like the batteries, and I think that's probably where Nick's question comes from is anybody handling the actual cars? Because the actual cars, realistically, from a shredder standpoint, should be worth have more value in them just because of the components and the 3 times the amount of copper wire supposedly, and I think more aluminum components. So they probably, from a crush standpoint or whatever, at some point you damn near bail them up as a dirty aluminum package.
It's a good point.
And versus right now, if you're just flattening them with your regular cars, you may not even be maximizing the value once after you get that battery out of there.
That's interesting. Good point.
You're correct, Brett. And I do know here, if we do get in any lithium-ion battery cells or anything, the best way to deem them dead is to soak them in a bath of water, and it completely kills it being live. So anytime we get any lithium-ion batteries of any size, as soon as you put them in a barrel of water, it kills them, and you don't have any thing about.
So aren't they naturally, or not naturally, but aren't they like purposefully sealed, Bill? Like where they, because if you look at them, like those things are fucking sealed tight. Like there's, they're not getting. I don't know how do you get water inside of them? You have to split them or something?
No, water reacts.
I
don't know the scientific or the method, but we did get in some battery cells from a Tesla, and we consulted with Tesla, and the best practice is to submerge them in water, and it deems them dead.
Yeah, I heard that same thing yesterday, William. One of my contacts that disposes of a lot of different waste. That's what he told me. He said you can just put them all underwater, and then they're not even dangerous anymore. So, which was a surprise to me. So,
Does that hurt the recyclability of them down the road
I think,
to soak in water like that?
I don't know. We didn't go into that. I was more on the, like even getting down to like the drill ones and stuff like that. Those seem to not even have a value. It seems like the only thing that has a true value is maybe the computer ones and the cell phone ones still. But
Hey guys, David, who is below, he just text messaged me. He says he has some information.
let me.
Are we able to let him check?
Yeah, I got him going. I just invited him. David.
Hey, David.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
We can.
Yes, sir.
Hey, appreciate it. So I'm kind of in the more of the rare exotic metals compared to what I think everybody is on this call, but
You're the fancy guy.
I'm the fancy one. You're right. So there's a company that's starting up. It's called Li-Cycle, as in Li space cycle. So right, lithium cycle.
Are they in Canada?
Yeah, and they've got a couple of different other feeder yards. I think they're setting up a processing yard. I think it's in New York or New Jersey, and one in the Midwest. And what they're trying to do is basically, they have a process where they're going to take the batteries and do their whole thing to it and extract out, the nickel and the cobalt and the lithium and some of the other materials. And it's kind of a prepackaged process to be able to do that. And if you think about it, they're going to be making basically a hub and spoke system all across the country. So they're going to have these like mini feeder yards in various locations that will collect batteries by the type and this and that, whatever, and then send them into regional processing facilities that will do their thing. And then those regional processing facilities will take their byproducts, the nickel, the cobalt, the lithium in different streams, and then kind of bring them into a larger, more, processing facility for further refinement. But they want to capture the country because they see what's happening in the couple of years, and they want to use scrap processors or dealers like us as their feeder yard. So just like nickel cadmium or nickel batteries now, lead acid batteries, whatever, how the local junkyard or scrapyard are collecting them and then sending them on. That's their concept. They want to use us to feed into their regional yards and then process and go forward.
That's awesome.
So,
that Brad Rudover is the one. I talked to him yesterday, and he told me about those guys. He said those are probably your best option at the moment for all that scrap. Because I talked to a different company out of California, and they told me like the ones for Teslas up to $275 per pound to get rid of those lithium ions. So
Pay to get rid of? Cost?
yeah, no pay cost. Yeah, $275 per pound. So
What's the charge?
yeah, but so Li-Cycle is looking at a pay program. I mean, for right now, I believe they're only targeting truckload type quantities, big quantities, or directly from the industrial accounts. I mean, they're trying to target like the dealerships and other things like that. Eventually, once they create this larger hub and spoke system around the country, is when they'll be able to start taking, smaller batches and whatnot. But, right now they're looking at like and again, Tesla's a big one, but every car manufacturer in the country is going to be putting out a battery-driven car. So I'm telling you, that is going to be a massive source of recycling, in the next 10 to 15 years. It's going to be cool.
Andy, you're joining us. How you doing, Andy?
Hey, sorry, man. Super short-handed, so I'm jumping on late.
No worries. We understand.
It's been one of
So
those days.
what's another change that you guys see coming, or that's just in our face right now?
Regulation.
Yeah.
What about like innovation, John? Like as an equipment company, I'm assuming you guys are always trying to innovate, make the next new big thing. Is there anything through the innovation changes?
We have a new garbage baler. It's a massive machine. It's a $1.3 million piece of equipment, but it's taken technology from the Rev4 and that's going into the waste sector. As far as the scrap side right now, technology-wise, it's not that it's new technology. We're seeing a large interest and side squeeze shears for people who are doing a little heavier material from a lot more skeletal plate, stuff like that. But as far as creating something new right now, we don't have anything new. We're seeing battery operated material handlers. We have a small one, but they're tiny, and they're not going to be able to load, shears and rail cars, because the trick is to get even on a 38,000 pound material handler, which is a very small one with a 33 foot or 30 foot reach, if you will, is the battery life. You can charge them, they're rechargeable, but you're only going to get 5 hours. So I think eventually, one of these days, the Tesla battery is going to be incorporated into a material handler. That's coming.
Why hasn't it happened yet?
It's they
Same
haven't
reason
done
it
it
hasn't
yet.
happened with a semi truck. Just too much horsepower.
Got it.
No, it's because John hasn't asked Elon to partner. I'm not
John,
joking.
just invite him over. Invite him over for one of those steak Fridays.
Yeah, I could do it. Maybe he'll come. Maybe I'll get him, Bill Gates, and Jeff Bezos all over.
Oh, there you go.
Go swing for the fences.
Yep.
I mean, just as an example, I charge my car at home overnight. It's an amazing car. Probably one of the best cars that I've ever driven, to be honest. I have a newer Model Y, and but the supercharging network is all Tesla. And somebody asked them in a tweet, how come nobody else is, other EV manufacturers allowed to join on your network? He goes, nobody's asked.
Interesting. Yeah, that is interesting.
Well, now with that said, the interesting thing, nobody's asked, but you got to make yourself available for the ask. And the big multi-billion-dollar corporations, they have that ability to ask a lot better than us. Quite frankly, as big as all of us think we are for what we do, we're not. And if they open,
I know I'm small. I get it.
and
I know the deal.
And if they allow us to make the ask and come visit us, then I think there's a huge game changer is by making it available to people like us in our fleet of things. So that's a fascinating point. That's great insight right there. Fantastic.
How about how many facilities? How many of you guys have scrap facilities by catalytic converters?
We do. We're
do.
what I would consider a very, very small player in this market because, the Motor City, we have so many cars. There's so many junkyards and then so many tow guys. And, we just buy maybe, I would say less than 20 a week. I would say we probably average maybe 10 to 15 a week, maybe.
You bought, how many people in your yard, Mike, know how to buy them? Is it just...
One.
Who is it?
My brother, Elliot, Mr. Foontastic on Instagram.
Okay.
My brother. He is, so before all the technology where now you just punch a code into, the browser, whatever system, before that he could tell a lot. But now pretty much anybody, if they have the link to the page, can figure out what a price is worth for the most part. So
Didn't you buy some cats off of like a stealth bomber or something? What was it?
Yeah, we bought some cats off of a Boeing 757
Okay.
or something. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you posting
but
that.
I'm pretty sure those ones weren't listed on the site.
No, when you posted that, I tried to run it.
My brother's nodding in the background saying they were posted on the site.
No, I was trying to find them on there, and yeah, they weren't posted on the platform we use. So.
Hey, Brett,
Go ahead.
Yeah, Brett, you asked that question on Cadillac converters. Where were you going with it? I'm curious on, we don't really handle them here because Bakersfield has a huge auto dismantler. population. But where are you driving on that question?
My question is you know how they have these cast aluminum furnaces, right? Like
Right.
there was a time when everybody and their dog was putting in these cast aluminum furnaces, in the back behind their building, right? Melting down all the catalyst, melting down all the aluminum. I just wonder if at some point there's going to be, because there's really only a few major players that actually participate in the actual smelting of the catalyst right now. Is there going to be a point where that deal changes and you're going to see people like getting down to the catalyst form, not all the way. I'm not saying separate, because like what your main smelters do, they get it down to a ingot that still has the three main metals in it, right? Will that come to fruition similarly? Will it be treated like gold and silver?
Good question. Above my pay grade.
All I can tell you is more furnaces in California is not going to be happening.
Yeah.
The San Joaquin
Back to your regulation.
Well, it is. In the San Joaquin Valley, where Bakersfield, you have Bakersfield, Fresno, Stockton, Modesto, Lodi, and Sacramento. Okay, that's the San Joaquin Valley. And the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control Board is brutal. Okay, brutal. And air particulates are a big concern of theirs. So, Brett, it may be in areas that allow industry, maybe Texas, maybe Georgia, maybe Idaho. Yeah, you might be seeing somebody, stepping up their game. But, William, you know what it is. You guys run, you're an ingot maker in Northern Cal. I mean, you already know your challenges, but being the San Joaquin Valley, forget about it.
Yeah, and to answer, Brett, I mean, the key word that you said in your question is you used to see all of these guys have the aluminum smelters in their yard, and it's a dying breed because of regulations, especially in California. They're trying to get it down to a nano, which is parts per billion. And, even us running a chlorine-free, no flux aluminum furnace in California has its major challenges and hurdles on a daily basis. We're very fortunate to have the leadership that we have that has been so active with the air boards, with the local, governing bodies, and again, to being a part of ISRI, so that being on the national boards and building the relationships that we have to be ahead of the regulatory agencies, which is a challenge every single day. As an example, here you have, John Sacco, Sierra Recycling, not the equipment company, but John, I think you guys get maybe 7 inches of rain per year, if that.
5.8.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm off by a little bit. But how much money did you just spend on your stormwater treatment?
$650,000, and we're still, and the water coming off the property, because we have the Stormwater RX pack, is fantastic now. But they say we have too high of zinc because of the warehouses that it comes off. So it's you just can't win because the goalpost keeps moving on you.
So is that start to finish, John, on that Stormwater X? Just out of curiosity, because I'm with you and believing that regulation is like the next big thing that we're all going to have to tackle at some point. Is that Stormwater X system, when you say 650, 700,000, is that soup to nuts, or is that, what part of that is?
Yeah, that was 2 big filtration units that they're the size of roll-off bins, plus the plumbing that we had in, plus the pumps, plus the electrical and the trenching. There was the clarifiers that had to be put in. Yeah, that was soup to nuts. That was the total package. But it's, we're covering an 18-acre piece of property that's completely paved. There's no dirt. Okay, so that water's got to go somewhere. If you have a paved yard, that water and if you don't have it depends on your water table. But the ground will act as its own filtration. But in our case, we're completely paved. That water's got to go somewhere, and they want it tested when it comes off your property.
When you're talking about zinc, you just said it's from your buildings. Is that from like
Galvanized
metal? Does that
galvanized
some metal?
Yes,
So
the galvanized.
would it be better to just paint it with or put something over it like I don't know, like how they spray the bed of a truck?
Yeah, you know what, Mike? We're working on that right now because that is issue right now. And
that shit's expensive. Like to spray that roof, like because I got a lot
of roof guys.
That's expensive. That's almost cheaper to fix the fucking water. Maybe not. I don't know. You would know.
I just was asking. I don't know which way is better, cheaper. I just asking.
I think you could. They have now it's still. I would submit to you for us at Sierra to truly get it to where zinc is no longer a thing. Is we're going to have to re-roof all the warehousing, and we have a lot of warehousing that's made of metal.
Not cheap.
Yeah, well, I figure we got another $300,000 to spend to retrofit all the rooftops, and then I believe at that point we're going to be and again, you spend this money as everybody knows. You say what's changing regulation. It isn't getting anything easier, and whether you're a Democrat or Republican, that's not the issue here. The new administration is driving hard more regulation, and environmental justice is coming, and I think you think what's the challenges? You talk about what's changing. What's it? It's called environmental justice. That's coming, guys, and that is going to be one of the ugliest things we've ever seen, because scrap facilities, recycling facilities throughout America are not in the best neighborhoods, right? So they're basically saying, well, it's your business that keeps the neighborhood poor.
Well, I told some of you, I don't know if all of you know, about how Michigan has that rule that got passed without talking to ISRI or anybody, even in the scrap industry, of we're not allowed to torch cut here unless it's the emissions are being filtrated. So, the things that they're doing to us, which is similar to your water, are putting some of us into a situation where we can't even recycle some of the things anymore.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's just wild.
And those are the changes. I don't want it to be a negative comment. We can go down that rabbit hole, and it doesn't do us any good. I think the changes is being aware and getting prepared to be on the right side. All of the look. Take a Brett and you guys are united, and then William, you guys up there, and Cass and others. You're reinvesting in your operation. New material handlers, new trucks, less emissions. You're getting onto these programs where you're investing back into the operation that gives a better carbon footprint, if you will, and that's what you're going to have to do. And then getting on board with what is social justice or environmental justice mean? Well, getting on board and getting ahead of it. And I think that's the positive spin we have to take from all this, is we've got to be out ahead of it. We can't let them get out ahead of us. And that's the change that is definitely coming. Environmental justice. And that's going to come screaming. And thank God, we're part of ISRI, because ISRI's already working on it. They're already out in front of it. And I think we're going to at least be at the table negotiating what it looks like instead of being on the menu. And I think that's positive. And I don't want to be a negative Nelly on this stuff, because I think there's opportunity, because it'll be a prevention, that'll be a barrier of entry into our competitors, if you will, by being out in the forefront of all this.
Absolutely.
So I wonder if, hey, Jake, do you guys have a water filtration system there? Because I know you just built a brand new yard, or do you guys have a swale?
He's muted.
Yeah, I know he just built a brand new yard last year there in Indiana. So I haven't asked him the question. The reason I ask is that we've been looking at, discussing, okay, is there yards that we have that are capped that we should be considering putting some sort of filtration system in? That's why I was wondering on the cost. And then where does your water drain to, John, when it's after it comes through the filtration? Does it go back into the sewer, or where does it go?
Yes, it does. And so we have a very, very, very low water table, so we're okay with that. We're not dumping it into any river, bay, or anything like that. But we there's also the ability people have. Not only there's filtration systems, is having natural filtration systems by putting medium in your yard and have things drain into that too, as long as it's, it all depends on your water table. And we have people out here that they call who deal with your SWEPs, which is your stormwater prevention plan, and these people help you define it to meet the goals of and the challenges of what you may have. So Brett, it could be filtration. There could be a lot of things. You're just going to have to do the deep dive in what are your water tables? Where does water go? Where can it go? What can you do with it? Like if you're up in, let's just use up in Great Falls, Montana, and you got the big Missouri River screaming over there, you better make sure your water isn't going into the Missouri River or wherever, what have you, and William, and not into the bay, that's hugely important.
Hey, Brett, we have the stormwater RF system here as well, and we've had it as long as I've been here, which next month will be 14 years. And there is an associated, maintenance that goes along with it. But the founder of Stormwater RX, Cal, amazing guy. I mean, they'll come out and consult with you. I mean, they can come out and do it, but we've never had any issues, and the main reason that we stuck with them, and same thing with Sierra, is quality of service. I mean, anytime we have any issues, they come right out. They repair, fix if it's needed, and they stand behind their product. And that was kind of the major deciding factor that we stayed with them.
A very good system. You get a lot of rain, you get a lot of snow, Brett. I don't know how much rain you get, but I know you get the snow, and you got to just see how that affects whatever filtration unit you're putting in, because you got to take that into consideration.
Makes sense.
Was there anything else that maybe not a change that you see coming, but is there any change that any of you want to see out there?
Wait, are you asking us to go to Fantasyland now?
I'm maybe a realistic change that you think we could get together. Yeah.
I would like to see that they recognize that, we're doing more good than harm when they pick on things like the water runoff or
absolutely.
the gene or whatever. I don't think that they're seeing any of the benefit of what we do. When I read some of these really old articles that my dad tells me about, before auto shredders, there was cars on the side of the road and machinery behind plants. And, my dad tells a story about how there was a field that there was like 80,000 pounds of stainless that he dug up one summer for, I just don't think that, I don't think some of the politicians or government, whatever you want to call it, really focuses on the good and really only wants to focus on the bad coming from us.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that'd be great just to get recognized.
I challenge you, Mikey. I challenge you to reach out to your local politicians so that you can inform them, because you are the voice of our industry, just like we are up here.
100%, William.
I like
you know what? Look, everybody on this call that's been talking, y'all have a social media platform. And part of what your platform has to be doing is educating why what you do is essential, why our industry is essential. I mean, the fact of the matter is, during this pandemic, we all got to stay open. Even here in lockdown California, now Mike, I know you were different there in Michigan, but it was because we were essential. And we kept banging home that message. And our message what we do. We all do, the thing about social platform, you can make 10 posts a day, but maybe make one of those 10 posts a day on your platform something that it's visual about what we're doing. And, we're only a handful of people who are really out there. And, and it's been, I told this at the BIR convention, the last one we were at before the pandemic in Budapest was, they were talking about how a handful of writers create these negative articles about our industry, and they influence thing. I go, you guys are letting 5 people dictate, and we're tens of thousands of recyclers worldwide. If tens of thousands of recyclers worldwide took to their social media platform with their phone every day talking about the benefit of what we do every day, we can change the messaging. And I think part of it, like you say, your local politicians have to know who Mikey Foon is. Everybody has to know who everybody is. You can't get away with it. But our message has to be out there. And that could change. You talk about change. We could change our perception of what we do by showing it what we do and how we keep it clean, and how we're investing millions and employing hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands, whatever that is. We have that platform. You guys are doing a very good job of that. At Nick and United, you guys are doing a very good job of it. And Willem, you guys definitely at CAS are doing a fantastic job of showing how good and great and green it is. You're definitely right about that. Mikey, you're next.
I just don't have the production quality as you guys. I'm more the gutter guy over here.
I love your content, Mikey. We all love your content.
Mikey, you're the Kardashian of the scrap world.
I got going because of you, Mikey. The crazy damn thing is it was you. So your damn little cell phone, trust me, you turn that thing horizontal and get the HD camera going on your iPhone. Half of our stuff that Darren Doan creates is done on an iPhone. Okay? Half the stuff you see on Sierra social media is done on an iPhone, if not 3/4 of it.
Hey, not to toot our own horn, but the Jason Mraz video that was filmed here.
We have anything
Shot on an iPhone.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Well, and that's the point, Mike. You can do it. The photo editing on an iMac has changed. It's dramatically changed how it can be done.
Well, anything else? Anyone want to add? Anyone in the audience? Anyone want to add anything? Raise your hand.
I think I'm good. I appreciate the conversation. I look forward to next week.
Yeah, and we'll pick a new topic, and we will do one. And I told you this, John. We'll do a marketing one here in a few weeks, and we'll get Doan on here. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I sincerely appreciate your questions, Brett, about the water filtration, because that's something I like to learn about too, and see if that's something I can afford one of these days.
And you know what?
You can't afford not to have it, Mike.
Well, that's the other end of the sword, right? Double edge of the sword.
I think would be good is everybody gets these clubhouse invites, right? Everybody gets a few. I don't know how many each person gets, but the more people we can find in our industry and get connected through these clubhouses this is the beginning stages of something that could be really big. And I know this isn't really on topic, but I'm just going to let it rip anyways. I think that there's going to be a time where we can all get together and have some sort of pricing, purchasing power. If we can connect everybody and get everybody discussing how we're getting treated as recyclers with even domestic steel mills or anywhere else, there's going to be a time where we're going to have our moment in the sun. And I'm just putting it out there. I think it's in the beginning of the stages, but we need to get everybody that's involved in these these yards, whether you're the owner or you're the guy selling the material or buying the material or doing both, we need to start collaborating more and helping each other out so we can all be successful.
Agreed.
Together.
Agreed 100%. So.
And I think there's opportunity there to where we could discuss equipment, what equipment we like, what water filtration systems we like, how do you set up your yard, how do you recruit employees, and I really just, the more people we can invite in our industry and use this platform, I think it's going to be crazy beneficial for us, for everybody.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, let's do it next Friday.
All right, you guys.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Appreciate
Thanks.
everything.
Thanks.
All right, fellas. See you later.
See ya. Bye-bye.